Warren Buffett once said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken." Simply put, the quote reminds us that small actions and habits can have a significant impact on our lives over time. You see, managing your finances isn't just a skill, it's a habit that needs to be nurtured and developed. Unfortunately, too many people get trapped in the mindset of spending more than they earn, thinking they'll eventually catch up. But let me tell you, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Money can be a tricky thing if you don't know how to manage it, and it's all too easy to overspend. And that's a recipe for disaster. Here are the 6 ugly money habits. Ugly money habit number 1, living beyond your means. As Warren Buffett famously said, if you buy things you don't need, soon you will have to sell things you need. Now, I get it. We all want to live that high life. With social media constantly showing us other people's perfect lives, it's hard not to feel the pressure to keep up. But let's be real. Appearances can be deceiving, and most people aren't as financially secure as they seem. I know it can be tempting, and it's easy to get caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians for that matter. Don't let the fear of missing out on the glitz and glam of others distract you from focusing on your own financial goals and priorities. That kind of lifestyle is unsustainable if you're not earning the big bucks. Instant gratification may feel good in the moment, but in the long run, it's only going to lead to stress, anxiety, and a whole lot of debt. Did you know that 42% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings? That's a staggering statistic that should make you think twice about overspending. If you want to avoid falling into this category, financial experts suggest saving at least 20% of your monthly income. Now, here's a tip for you. Try splitting your monthly income into 3 categories using the 50-30-20 rule. Use 50% for essential expenses like rent and groceries, 30% for discretionary spending, and the remaining 20% for savings and debt payments. It's wise to follow the 20% rule, but don't stress yourself out if you can't achieve that right away. Any progress towards savings is a good start. On the other hand, if you're earning a higher income, aim to save more than 20% of your after-tax earnings each month. Also, if you've been enjoying this video or getting some value out of it so far, I would appreciate it if you can like, subscribe, and click the bell notification to stay up to date with our channel. Much respect. Alright, this leads me right into ugly money habit number 2, not having a budget. I know, budgets are boring and nobody wants to deal with them, but without one, you're basically just flying blind. Let's face it, keeping your finances in order can be a real hassle, but if you want to build a better future financially, you need to start by creating a plan. And the cornerstone of any good financial plan? You guessed it, a budget. A recent study found that a whopping 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, with nothing set aside for emergencies or long-term goals. That's a reality check. But the good news is that budgeting can help. By taking a closer look at your income and expenses, you can get a clearer picture of your financial situation. You can spot areas where you're overspending, make adjustments, and get on the path to achieving your goals. Now, I know what you're thinking. Budgeting is still boring, but hear me out. Budgeting doesn't have to be a chore. In fact, it can be a great way to prioritize the things that matter most to you. Do you want to save up for a big vacation? Or maybe you're focused on buying a house. Your budget can help you get there faster. And here's the best part. Budget can reduce your financial stress and anxiety. Money is one of the biggest sources of stress for many people, but having a plan in place can help you feel more in control. In fact, a recent survey found that 85% of people who budget regularly feel more confident about their finances than those who don't. But remember, budgeting isn't a one-and-done task. It's an ongoing process that requires regular check-ins and adjustments. As your income and expenses change, your budget needs to evolve too. Budgeting is all about taking control of your finances and setting yourself up for success. By creating a plan and sticking to it, you can achieve your goals and build the life you want. So why not give it a try? Your wallet and your future self will thank me later. Ugly money habit number 3, impulse buying. Have you ever found yourself wandering through a store, minding your own business, when suddenly something catches your eye? Maybe it's a shiny new gadget or a flashy piece of clothing that you simply can't resist. You pick it up, examine it, and before you know it, you're at the checkout with a bunch of items that you don't really need. Impulse buying is a slippery slope that many of us have fallen victim to at some point in our lives. It's like we're attempting to fill an emptiness inside us with material possessions just to temporarily satisfy a craving or desire. But the truth is, these impulsive purchases are not only draining our wallets, but also our energy and time. Imagine bringing home a new item, only to realize that it doesn't quite fit with your lifestyle, or that you already have something similar. You now have to spend time and energy returning it or figuring out how to store it. In all the meanwhile, the money you spent on that impulse buy could have gone towards a more meaningful purchase or even towards your savings. It's always hard to break bad habits, but it's an important step towards achieving financial stability and control. Take a moment to ask yourself, do I really need this? And consider how the purchase can affect your financial objectives. Maybe you'll find that the item is not as necessary as you initially thought, or perhaps it's better to wait until you can budget for it. Just know that every purchase has a real cost, and it's up to us to make informed decisions that align with our financial priorities. By being mindful of our spending habits, we can avoid falling into the trap of compulsive buying and move towards a more intentional and fulfilling approach to better money management. Ugly money habit number 4. Not preparing for a rainy day. Life is a journey full of twists and turns, with unexpected bumps in the road that can catch us off guard. As much as we try to plan and prepare, there's always a chance that a sudden expense can appear, throwing our finances into chaos. Unexpected medical bills, car problems, or maybe your basement gets flooded. It's in these moments that having an emergency fund can be a true lifesaver. You never know when it's going to rain, and when it rains, sometimes it pours. Not having that nest egg is a bad habit that can leave you exposed and vulnerable to financial shocks. It's like walking a tightrope without a safety net. If you slip and fall, there's nothing there to catch you. In the same way, without a contingency fund, you're putting yourself at risk of falling into a financial black hole that can be difficult to escape from. But how much should you save? Realistically, you should aim to save between 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. That means calculating how much you're going to need to cover your essential costs, such as rent or mortgage payments, bills, groceries, transportation, and then multiplying that figure by 3 or 6. It may seem like a daunting task, but it is essential to have a safety net that can keep you afloat during tough times. The key is to make sure that you can access these funds easily in case of an emergency, but keep it separate from your day-to-day spending. It's not enough to just have some extra cash lying around in your checkings account. Instead, consider setting up a separate savings account or investing in a money market fund, where your money can earn interest while still being readily available. As we all know, life may be unpredictable, but with the rainy day fund, you can face unexpected expenses with confidence, knowing that you have a safety net to catch you if you fall. Ugly money habit number 5. Only paying the minimum on credit cards. Credit cards have become a staple in our daily lives. They're the convenient go-to for buying things we need or want, and for many of us, it is a lifeline for paying bills and other expenses. But be very aware, because this convenience comes with a steep price tag that can drag you into a never-ending cycle of debt. When you tap that card to pay for something, you're essentially taking out a loan from the credit provider, and the balance you owe starts racking up interest faster than an F1 car. Credit card interest rates are always sky high, making it tough to pay off your debt if you only fork over the minimum payment each month. But I get it. Paying the bare minimum on your credit card feels like the smart choice. You get to keep more cash in your wallet and your bank account, which feels like a win. Let me tell you, this is a dangerous game to play. By only paying the minimum, you're not making any real progress towards eliminating your debt. You're just treading water while the interest charges pile up, making it harder and harder to break free. Here's a jaw-dropping stat for you. A recent study found that it can take up to 22 years to pay off a credit card balance of $10,000 if you only make the minimum monthly payment of $200. Assuming an interest rate of 15%, that's over 2 decades of your life spent chipping away at a single debt. And that's a path no one wants to take. So, What can you do to avoid this debt trap? Well, for starters, try to pay off your balance in full each month if possible. If that's not feasible, do yourself a favor and pay as much as you can above the minimum payment to make some real progress towards clearing your debt. You may need to tighten your belt and cut back on expenses for a while, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Credit cards are handy tools if used responsibly, but they can also be the gateway to a lifetime of debt if you're not careful. It's crucial to make wise financial decisions and avoid getting trapped in the vicious cycle of debt. Stay proactive and find ways to educate yourself financially so you can avoid mistakes like getting burned by credit card interest rates. Number 6, the last ugly money habit, not diversifying. Warren Buffett once said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." Managing your finances can be a real headache, and one of the worst money habits out there is not diversifying your money. It is crucial to spread your investments across different assets. That way, if one goes belly up, you won't be left high and dry. The thing is, failure to diversify can leave you vulnerable to market volatility, economic downturns, and all sorts of financial shocks. And trust me, you don't want to be caught with your pants down when the market takes a nosedive. The biggest risk of not diversifying is that you could lose everything in a single investment. Imagine putting all your cash into one stock, and then that stock takes a big old plunge. You could be left with nothing but your tears and regrets. But if you spread your investments across a variety of stocks, bonds, and other assets, you'll be able to weather the storm. Another downside of not diversifying is missing out on potential gains. Different assets perform differently over time, and by investing in a variety of them, you can take advantage of growth opportunities in different sectors. For example, if you only invest in tech stocks and the tech sector tanks, you'll be up the creek without a paddle. But if you diversify into healthcare or energy, you can offset losses in one area with gains in another. And finally, not diversifying can also mean missing out on passive income opportunities. By diversifying your portfolio, you can get in on rental incomes from property investments, dividend incomes from stocks, and interest income from bonds. These passive income streams can give your wallet a much needed boost and increase your overall financial stability. As you can see, not diversifying your money is a train wreck waiting to happen. But if you spread your investments across different assets, you'll minimize risk, maximize returns, and you'll be sitting real nice. So there you have it. 6 ugly money habits that are keeping you down and out. But fear not, because awareness is the first step towards change. Take a look at your own financial habits and see if any of these apply to you. And remember, small changes can lead to big results. Thanks for watching.